Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the shop. Now, usually we're pretty upbeat and tell you welcome to the channel and hey, how's today and fucking whatever else, but
No. Yeah. What's up? It's another day in Western Colorado and it's kind of hot. And things went south with Molly, my truck.
I'm not one to usually accept defeat, but this is the one circumstance where I'm gonna have to accept defeat. It is not Evan's fault, and it is not my fault.
Combined effort, I think.
I think there is a lesson to be learned, and the lesson to be learned is to be very vigilant with what you're doing when you're building engines.
Extra meticulous.
The 416 heads that we swapped onto Senor's Evans' truck, they were sitting in the bench seat in the truck, waiting for us to assemble it for a couple weeks, probably at least, after they were sitting in my garage. And somehow or another, they acquired a nut and bolt.
The intake port. Yeah.
So we had it running, which you guys saw on the last video, and it was maybe running on 8. It was definitely running on 7, and from the looks of things, it was truly running on 6.
I don't know. I think it was still on 7. Because I think the one was still making compression and making some kind of power. Not power, but it was combusting.
The last time you guys saw the truck, it was running, and that's where we ended the video. So I went home, and I came back up to his house the next day to double check timing and stuff, and we went to start it. No. How? It was the night before.
It was Saturday's when it stopped running. Sunday when I was at church, you came over.
Okay, so Saturday it quit running, and we couldn't figure out why. Like, no matter how much amperage we put to it, no matter how much we tried to jump it, it just wouldn't go. So I stuck a ratchet on the crank, and it told me that it was locked up, which it shouldn't be. And I was like, fuck it, I'm not dealing with it tonight. He went to church, I came up the next morning, and I started pulling spark plugs. And 7 of them turned out fine. 1 of them did not. So, this came out of cylinder number 2. And that was our first sign of bad news. And then on top of that, I took a video with my camera. I think I already deleted it, unfortunately. Inside the cylinder. And it looked like a golf ball. So that was really terrible news. And to move you guys forward a whole bunch, this is the current situation that we have going on. And if Senor Evan will go over here to the left of me, the culprit that killed this whole fucking situation be sitting on the floor. So.
Well, before we get to that, we need to see what we found when we pulled the head off. This was sitting on the piston. That there
was a bolt. Nut.
That's a nut.
Was a nut.
That's about 3/16. That's about 7/8, and that's about 3/8. I don't know, the quarter, whatever. She's squished. That's no bueno. Anyway, that's the biggest issue why she locked up. There's more to the story, but we'll get to that in a second.
That little nut beat the holy ever living shit out of this piston. This may look like a crack, but it's not a crack. It's just fucking dented in, but
no crack right here.
The top of the piston took a beating, but it was okay. It probably would have been all right, but somehow or another, that piston got shoved sideways, and it broke the skirt off.
Well, the skirts are there.
Well, it broke the side. It broke it off, but we come to find out that cast aluminum pistons have a metal piece inside them.
Like a frame.
Like a frame that they cast the aluminum around that holds it together. That's what's holding this piston together right now, is the metal frame. So, on top of that, one of our other buddies that is smarter about engines than us came over and he told us that this wrist pin is probably in a U shape and not coming out of that rod, and it elongated that hole. So, this whole situation is fucked.
Obviously.
But the amazing part is is the cylinder number 2. I expected there to be fucking holes in the wall, and there's literally nothing.
There's just 2 little marks in it. There's one right here that your fingernail doesn't even catch. There's one over here somewhere, right there, that you can feel it, but your fingernail doesn't catch on it either. Like,
So that piston ended up sideways in that bore, and the steel is so strong in these blocks relative to the aluminum piston that it didn't damage the block. So the block is good, but that piston is a no-go. And on top of that, that wasn't the only cylinder that we had issues with. We had issues with 2, 4, 6, 8. Mr. 8.
but that's it. Oh yeah, you can see it in there.
That nice shiny mark is not supposed to be there. Now, the only reason that would be there is because a valve decided to say hello to that piston. And if you're curious on how you do that,
You let a bolt fall down in there.
that would be the matching bolt to the nut.
Most likely.
Most likely. At least the same thread. I would generally assume.
It's probably the same.
Yeah.
No
So
clue what it even went to.
that fell behind the intake valve
And it
and
was-
held it open.
Like that. Like the threads were sticking out of the valve. And so the valve closed on it like that. And it was just stuck open, so it had no compression at all.
So when that valve was supposed to close, it didn't close. And it said hello to the top of that piston. That piston is perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, the piston's good.
I wouldn't even fucking bother with that. Now we gotta go over here and flip the heads over.
Figure out which one's which.
One of them, driver's side, is perfectly fine.
This one with the bolt in it.
And amazingly, let's see.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
I'm wrong. I think it's this one actually. I could be wrong too. Again. Okay. Well,
Oh, it's right there. See this valve
yeah.
has an air gap. That's where the bolt was.
That's-
So this valve is bent, but cylinder 2
It's fine.
survived the entire beating with literally no damage at all. Anything that you see, I guarantee I can wipe off. Like there's no.
There's a little bit of roughness right here, but it's not even a thing.
Yeah.
Take a little 40 grits
Like-
of that, and it's fine.
The valve is still perfectly clean. This valve is still perfectly clean. So if you replace this one intake valve, these heads are still good. And the heads are not the issue. We can pull another spark plug from somewhere else, but it ran really fucking good on the other cylinders. So, yeah.
Super good on 6 cylinders. Maybe okay on cylinder 2 that was broken
For a second.
for a second, and nothing at all on 8 for the last bit at least. Who knows how long the bolt was sitting in there before it decided to fall. No clue.
The moral of the story on this short video, make sure that you check your shit when you're assembling
Take
stuff.
that head. Shake the hell out of it.
You can do that. Or you can do what we're going to do. We went online, he went online, got on Amazon, and he found a cheap boroscope that has LEDs on it. We have another engine for this truck. Not going to tell you guys which one it is yet.
Wink, wink.
You guys have seen it before. It's not new to the channel. We're going to order a boroscope and we're going to stick it down the intake ports.
Each
Each and every one, because it's got a single plan on it. Because we run single plans on anything. That should give you a clue on what kind of engine this is.
the V8.
Yeah, it's definitely V8. And it's definitely bigger. So we're gonna run a boroscope down it, and then with the exhaust manifolds off, you can just look at that side. So perfectly fine. We will make sure not to do this with the fucking next one because I have huge sentimental attachment to it, and I'd rather it not die. On top of that, we are also going to prime the next one, which we did not do with this one.
Prime the oil system at least.
We didn't need to, but the next one definitely needs it. So yeah, the 416 305 headed fucking 350 dream of mine is still a dream, and it's back on the fucking floor again. But
But we have a potential next for that also.
yeah, maybe we'll see about that. There is one on Marketplace that is a short block that needs a crank. We happen to have a good crank. It didn't touch the crank. It's been bored 40 over, and it's got a set of, I can't remember the name, 041, 047, something like that. It's a decent head. It's got 194 valve and 150 valve. It would do decent.
Similar to the 416 heads, almost identical.
Yeah, so I may get my high revving small block yet, but that's a future endeavor. We got to get this one back together, but we thought we would update you guys. Not everything goes peachy keen. Not everything goes fucking great, and sometimes you just gotta accept failure, and we definitely learned a lesson from it, and if we can teach somebody else one fucking lesson from it, we can save you guys from this kind of trouble.
Hey.
I'll pick it up in a minute. It'll be worth it. So, get out there and wrench on something, but make sure that you guys go through your stuff.
Go through it. Double check yourself.
So,
we didn't.
Yeah. We fucked up. There you go.
Well.
Have a good night, guys. God bless.
Bye.